Shri R.C. Bhargav, Shri Kimat Ayakta ji, Mr. Michael Jim, Dr. Sanjay Srivastava, Ms. Rasmi Singh, my very dear colleagues in the audience, the esteemed guests from the industry, leaders from the industry who have come, taken the trouble to be here this morning, and my dear students, as your Director General said, future leaders. I have been given a very difficult subject, leadership challenges. I feel that it is something like, जैसे सूरज को दिया दिखाते हैं, we have such eminent leaders sitting with us. What am I going to say? But of many long years in the government, in the private sector, in the education sector, I will share a few things in terms of challenges. I think Mrs. Rashmi Singh has given you a very wonderful exposition in terms of challenges we face. What I am going to say is not from any books, but it's the experience, day-to-day experience, and I will share it very briefly in the limited time frame. India is an interesting country. We have variety of leaders. We have political leaders, we have religious leaders, we have corporate leaders, we have military leaders, we have mafia leaders, and everyone faces their own kind of challenge. I will briefly talk about the corporate leadership. The corporate leadership, because that is one sector which has to build up this nation. There are 3 or 4 practical points which I thought I'll share very briefly. One of the first challenge I feel today to leaders is, in their own environment, in their own organization, is motivation versus frustration. How to motivate the employees, how to motivate the team that is working for that organization, how to prevent or how to tackle various frustrations. Our people are all human beings by nature, have aspirations, have expectations, want things to happen the way they want. And if they feel that they are not getting something in that direction, the levels of frustration come in. That causes restlessness. So how to handle this? I have been in the army also for 35 years. The word motivation there has a different meaning. In fact, the word in army is morale. Morale is the superlative of motivation, where if the commander says, go and do this, he will go and do it. He knows that he may die and never come back. That is morale. That is the superlative of motivation. We don't expect that in the environment, in organizations, in corporates. Morale is required, but not to that degree. But motivation is very important. How do we? People get frustrated on small things. 2 or 3 things which are very practical. There should be a fair field for meeting the expectations. Things like promotion, things like favoritism, things like increments, things like facilities, they all can cause frustration. So what is required is a very level playing field, transparent playing field, so that people know that what they are getting is what they deserve. Everybody thinks he's a cat's whisker. Everybody. He thinks he's a cat's whisker. Why another person is superseding him in any of the matters? So there has to be a system in the organization where, whether it is point-based, whether it is whatever ways, where the achievements beyond the primary responsibility of a manager, of a worker, is rewarded. And people should see it, that why he is being rewarded. This seniority versus merit is a very difficult thing to my mind. And if it is being addressed in an organization, that people understand, because everybody, I said, thinks he's a cat's whisker. And therefore, why should another person, he may have merit. So what is the system in the organization relating to that organization which shows out to the people that there is a certain merit person? It has many factors, I won't go into it. A person is given a primary responsibility in an organization. From time to time, he is also called upon to do something more than that. It is up to the leader, the perspective of the leader, to realize that is the additional responsibility from time to time causing any neglect of his primary responsibility. It's very important. It's not paid attention in many organizations that I have seen in my long career so far. So I will just not go on this point much, but this is one challenge. Another challenge I feel is the responsibility versus authority. I very strongly feel that in an organization, if a person is given a task, he should also have the wherewithal to be able to achieve that task. That is where the perspective, that is where the experience of the senior people, the senior leaders in that organization matters. One cannot, people have visions, people have dreams, especially at the leaders. They want things to happen. They want things to happen in quick time because the competition is growing. Therefore, very, very carefully it has to be seen, it's a challenge that if I am going to do something beyond, something more, which is tomorrow in a competitive environment required for me to get an edge, am I providing that wherewithal to the person? Otherwise he will get frustration again. He will say, I know I can do it, but I don't have the authority, I don't have the wherewithal yet. So I think it's a parallel, simultaneous process in higher leadership to ensure that aspect. Another very important aspect which I feel, there are books written on this, number of books, lectures, articles, centralization versus delegation. Now again, it is a problem, it is a challenge related to a particular organization and its leaders at the helm. To what extent there should be centralization, to what extent there can be delegation. And this is a very, very important factor because this is one factor which is a tool to build trust, to build confidence, and to build faith in the employee and the leaders. If this is not addressed, I don't mean that delegate everything, That will entirely depend on the circumstances and the task. I also don't mean centralize everything. You can't move an inch. Nobody can move an inch, though he's been given a responsibility to move without the say-so or the nod from the top. These are a few factors which also pose a challenge today. These are some of the main factors which pose challenge. I can say a few more things on this, but I have the time, so I just want to conclude by saying few more things. What is required is a bond between the employees and the managers and senior managers. A deep bond. The other day in one of the seminars here, we had a CEO and MD who said, I have risen from a very middle class family, established something, a very new concept. And he has, in his last 15 years or 16 years, I don't remember exactly now, I wish I had the detail, I met him. He has been awarded from few world bodies as the best employer in India and in some forums. And he says, this credit goes to me only because he has about 2,000 employees all over India at the moment. It's an offshoot of a company in US. Is because I have managed to build a bond between my employees, myself and my senior managers. So the challenge is, under the environment, how to build that bond with the employees. Bond which is based on respect, trust, faith and confidence. Sharing their concerns. Being very transparent. Listen to people what they say, especially the younger people. That is very important. Sometimes the younger leaders, the younger managers can come out with tremendous ideas. But the experience, the gut feeling of the seniors with experience should moderate that, but not let the person feel that he is talking nonsense. I want to quote what Bill Gates has said. What it means briefly is, for the senior, it's a message to the seniors that saying yes or hearing yes is very comfortable to your ears, but hearing different views is required for growth. And one last quote, in English I'll translate it. If anyone thinks that there is no better way of doing a thing, he is either a supernatural being or a supernatural fool. With this, I wish this conference all the very best and thank you very much.